Alright, so here we have this little example file that I have prepared just to show you guys some inner line techniques that did not really take that long at all to create, and that's mostly thanks to Blender's amazing UV editing tools. And take this from a guy who used to learn Maya, or that came from Maya to Blender. UV mapping can be kind of a pain, but when I first started learning Blender and I discovered how incredible their UV mapping tools are, I fell in love instantly. So now UV mapping is a breeze to me, but you know, working in Maya for so long, it basically numbed me to the pain. So, alright. Right here I have a metal plate that I created, and just so that you're not confused, it is, if I just bring this up here, let me hit N to hide that, and I zoom out, it should be the exact same node setup that we've been working with. I forgot to label everything, but you know, this is just an example. So I just have the base of the plate, and I have the specular, and as you can see, I have applied the blue channel, and I will talk about the blue channel once we get into talking about the inner lines. But for right now, let's just go ahead and just take a look at what we'll be discussing. So here you can see some sharp inner lines, and I have the inverted hole method applied. So if I go to my modifier, bring this out a little bit, you can see that I have my subdivision surface, which I don't have applied right now. You know, just playing around with it, see what I like. Maybe if I like that shape, or I can just keep it like that. And I have my solidify, I can turn that off, and you can still see that the inner lines are applied. And turn that back on, and I have the data transfer modifier, which I used to edit my normals to make it a lot easier. And I'll even go into that, because the really cool thing about this method that I discovered was that I really wish that I really wish I discovered this while I was making my character. I did some very minor normal editing to Noah, just minor because you know, I was still new to normal editing. But I discovered this really neat way to easily edit your normals, and I will talk about that after the inner lines and discussing the blue channel. So, let's go ahead and take a look at this a little more, and you can see this right here. Now this is actually just this right here, the bolts. So if I take this off, you can see that this is actually just a cylinder, and if I go into wireframe, you can see that it's literally just a cylinder. And I have some nice sharp lines going around the tip of the cylinder, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, so put that back on, turn the wireframe off, and now let's get into the UV editor. And remember, everything is literally the exact same textures that we've been working with. So let's go ahead and bring this over and take a look at our textures. And if you go over here, you can still see my base color, my SSS, and my ILM. And if you just have this right here, this is Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which I used as an example or as reference so that I can see what I wanted to use for this. But Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is an absolute beautiful game, and I highly recommend that you guys go check it out, because like it's absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And this right here is my goal as an artist. I really want to replicate this style, so that's what I'm going to work very hard to replicate, because Arc System Works, in my honest opinion, have really outdone themselves with this game. So that's just my personal opinion, and I could go on, but let's just go ahead and go back to the texturing, because my god, I can't express how beautiful that game looks. So, alright, let's go ahead and select our little plate right here and go to tab to go to edit mode. And as you can see, if I go over a little bit, you can see that I have everything vectored. You know, I've taken a lot of time to get my UVs, make my UVs. I even added some edge loops, which you can see this little red line right here where I added my my seams. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time on the UV editing because this is a rather simple model and I wanted to use this as an example. So, but for this, I am going to select all and I'm going to destroy my hard work. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit U, as in the letter U, to get rid of everything. And you can even, obviously, you can go over here to your 3D view and hit U. Oops, you can go over here and hit U and hit UV Unwrap to get the same result. But since I'm over here, I can just go ahead and hit U. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to bring this up here so that we can work with them individually. Alright, so which one of you will I pick? Eeny, meeny, miny, you. So I'm going to grab you, I'm gonna select the face and I'm going to hit L to select everything linked to it. And I'm going to bring you over here. And you know, these little black lines are base color lines that I textured. So if I go up here, you know, I have them applied to the shadow color as well. And you can see my ILM map. They're not on the ILM map because if I put them there, I would basically be creating non-shadow information because, you know, white means full and black means none, you know, just like we've been talking about this whole time. So let's go back to our base color. And now let's make this thing a square. And as you can see, it's rather curved and bent. When you add edge loops and when you bevel something, it tends to get this little effect right here. But the primary reason why it tends to bend is when you add a bevel. If you add an edge loop, this shouldn't change. So, like, let's say that you're trying to make an object and you want to maintain your UV information. And I'll show you that a little later as an example. But if you bevel this, it's going to bend and contort itself. So I just wanted to tell you that. That was something I discovered, is that beveling will distort your UVs, but adding edge loops should not do that. So just wanted to let you know. Alright, so let's go ahead and select someone that we can edit. Let's go ahead and select you right here. So as you can see, this isn't really a perfect square. It's kind of curving a little bit. But what we're going to do is we are going to make this a perfect square and we are going to apply that to everything. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to our edge right here and we are going to select one of our edges. So let's go ahead and start with you right here. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go up here to our UV, go to UV, and we are going to go down to Align. And you are going to select this, these two guys right here. Align to the x-axis and align to the y-axis. And we're just going to hit select. We're going to hit select on the align to x-axis. And now our UV is being pushed onto the x-axis, which is pointing in this direction. And just so you don't have to go, oh, okay, so where is it again? Blah, blah, blah. Is it over here to align UV? Nope. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it's right here. But just so you don't have to constantly go back and try to find that selection again, because that's a pain in the butt, what you can do is apply it to your quick select. So if I hit my Q, if I Q as in the letter Q, it brings up my quick favorites. And as you can see, I have it right here. And if you don't know how to add something to your quick select, what you can do is, let's use an example. Let's go to UV and let's maybe go to let's say Stitch. And what we're going to do is we're going to hover over Stitch and we're going to right mouse click and it's going to say add to quick favorites. So we're going to select that. And now if I hit Q as in the letter Q, you can see that it's right there on my quick select. So now I don't have to go through this whole rigmarole of trying to find out where something is. So that's just a little tidbit right there I wanted to share, just in case you didn't know. So I'm gonna go right here to my top edge, and since this is the x-axis, I want to align this to the y-axis. So what I'm gonna do, and because I already have it on my quick select, I'm gonna hit Q, and I'm gonna hit Q and go to my align to Y. So now it's aligned to my y-axis, and now we're gonna do the same exact thing for these two. So I'm gonna grab U, quick select, align to X, grab U, Q, and Y select, or align to Y axis. And now we have a perfect square aligned to the X and the Y axis. So now what we're going to do is we are going to copy this UV information and put it on everything else. And how we're going to do that is we are going to go to our face and we are going to select U. We're going to select this guy right here that we just got done editing. And with that selected, we are going to hit L to select everything linked to it. You know, like here, look, select linked pack. And this is very important. Remember, you need to have the one that you got done editing. You have to select that first. For, well, the reason why you need to have this selected first is because this is considered active. So if I were to go over here and select L, now this is the active one. This is all the information that's going, this right here is going to be the information that everyone else will follow. But we want the UV to follow the information that we just edited. So we're going to select this UV and we're going to hit L, and we are going to go to a little special command called follow active quads. And as you can see, I have it on my follow active quads on my quick favorites, and I could be blind, which is probably the case, but I haven't been able to find it over here. But where it is if I go over here to my 3D viewport and I hit U for my UV mapping tools, and I can go down to right here and it has follow active quads. But I already have it saved to my quick select, so I can just grab this again, hit L, and hit Q to go to my quick favorites, and hit follow active quads. And now, everything else is following the exact same information as the one that we just edited. And now, we have our normals vectored. And now what we're gonna do, and let me see which one. Okay, so this is the right side, so I'm just gonna hit L, grab you, and I'm gonna rotate you. And I'm gonna go over here and hit 90 to make sure, yep, just wanna make sure everything is aligned. I'm gonna hit L to select this one. I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna, let's say, just shrink you and put you over here. And here, let me turn this off so you can see it better. So you can see what our UV map is doing. Bring you out over here. And you can play around with the placement. But the first thing I did was I UV mapped everything. You know, I edited my normals and, oh, sorry, not my normals. I edited my UVs and placed them on this map. And then I exported my UVs and brought them into Photoshop, and then I painted my black lines. You don't want to paint your black lines first and then bring them in here and then UV map, because then you're gonna be playing like this massive guessing game. So make sure that you get your UVs and set them in a place that you like, and then export them to Photoshop and paint your black lines in any desired position. So let's see. I'm just gonna play around with the placement. You know, I'm not gonna focus too much on it. I think you get the idea. Oops, let me select that again, hit L, and just play around with the placements until I get some moderately that I like, and I can hold down Shift and scale this in any kind of way, make it a little smaller, maybe something like that, to get my little lines right here. And if you want to have better control over editing your normal, or not your normals, I keep saying normals, but if you want to have better control over editing your UVs, you're obviously going to see if you select your edge, it's going to select whatever that edge belongs to. So just like this right here, even though I have them separated, this right here is technically linked to this one. And that's actually very important with this selection right here. So what this is, it means UV sync. So watch what happens when I turn that off. Well, let me select my UV first, and then let me turn this off. And now I'm only working with this UV. But you can also do that by hiding it. So if I go back over here and I select it and I hit Shift H, it should hide everything, and watch what happens. You can do that. Let me go ahead and select everything right here. Let me just break it, and then I can hit Alt H to bring everything back and nothing changed. Just so that you can get better control. But if I'm sorry if I'm talking a little fast, but let me go ahead and unhide everything. That's just a really good way to help you edit your normals a lot better and to get better sharpness. So let me go ahead and select this guy right here, and I believe this is, where are you? Are you right here? Yeah, you're right here. So I'm gonna grab you, I'm gonna hit L, I'm gonna bring you over, and now I'm gonna turn you into a square. And I'm just gonna hit Shift H to hide so that I can only work on this one. And I'm gonna grab you, put you right here, and I'm gonna Q, line to the X, line to Y, line to Y. Now I'm gonna go to my face select, grab you, hit L, grab everything, hit Q, follow active quads. And now I have a square. And I'm gonna hit Alt H to get everything back so I know where my placement is. I'm gonna bring you over here, and let me turn you off so you guys can see the black lines. And I'm gonna bring you, put you over here, and I can shrink you, make you smaller, put you right here, bring you up, and I can grab you, unlink, and now with my, this right here is the edge select, this is the vert select, this is the face select, and this is selecting the entire thing. So right now I just want to select my edges. I'm going to grab you, hit Alt to grab everything, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, grab the X, and I'm going to pull you over to make you a bit bigger. And one thing that you can do is, in order to make it sharper, if you want to try to vary the line work, what you can do is you can go to your vert select, grab these two, and I can scale them like this to make it smaller, and I can play around with it as much as I want, make it sharper, like you see right there, and you can play around with that until you get something that you like. Alright, that's basically a brief overview of adding some inner lines. I don't want to try to spend too much time to bore you with the details, because I'm pretty sure this video is a lot longer than it needs to be. So, well, with that little example out of the way, let me go ahead and show you this neat little trick of getting a sharp line on a cylindrical shape. So, let me go ahead and blah, blah, blah. Oh, let me go ahead and put linked back on, and I'm gonna just leave you right there. Pull you back over, and put you back so we can see you. And let's just look at this bolt real quick. Now let's look at the UV to see what we're trying to replicate. And, oh, I have my normal set on because I was editing the normals. Turn you off. And as you can see, this is a perfectly curved line on something that doesn't have a whole lot of geometry. So if I go over here, we can see what we're trying to replicate. And it looks like a cone, and I understand that may look weird. Let me go ahead and bring up my ILM, and you can see that it has the specular on it, which is controlled by this orange, and I believe it's colored gray. It's not fully white because it's very faded, so this is likely colored gray, so that when when the shadow goes over it, the specular will disappear, and when it's lit, the specular will come back. But, you know, I already talked about that, so I won't go back into it again. So, let me show you how to do this from scratch. So, let's go ahead and bring you back over. We're going to hide you guys for a second. Now, let's start with a brand new cylinder. So, I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift-A to bring up my add menu, and I'm going to go to cylinder, and I'm going to bring you in here. And I'm going to right mouse click, hit shade to smooth. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to edit mode. We're going to grab this face, we're going to delete you, delete the face, go to edge mode, hit Alt, and select all the edge loops. And we're going to hit E to extrude, and click to confirm, and then we're going to scale this in. And we're going to hit, say, verts. Oops, didn't mean to deselect that, but I can get that back. Go ahead and hit Alt to select all my verts, and I'm going to go to Q because I have merge verts on my quick favorites, and I'm going to go to merge verts and I'm going to hit at center. And now I have this right here. And I can go ahead and get rid of this under part because I'm not going to use it. We're not going to focus on that. So delete that face. And let's just go ahead and give it the material that we've been working with. So let's go ahead and hit add material, and let's give it the metal, let's give it the bolt specular to make it easier to follow. And now let's go ahead and go over here, and the reason why you're getting that little piece of information, that weird glitchy shadow effect, is because we don't have auto smooth enabled. So we're just going to go ahead and hit check mark to get the auto smooth enabled, so now we get some nice shadows. Alright, so what we're going to do is, well, first let's make sure that it's on. So, alright, what we're going to do is we are going to go to edit mode, we're going to select all, by hitting A to select all, and we are going to rotate this 90 degrees forward. And let's go over here, I'm going to go to 90, and put you right there facing forward. And now, this is going to look a little weird, but trust me on this. So, we're going to try to align this the best way we can and try to make it look as straight as possible. And let's get it at an angle to where we can still see the front part. Let's say about right there. And what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and hit U for our UV mapping, and we are going to go to project from view. And what this is going to do is it is going to create a UV. It's going to create our UVs based on our projected view. So what this view is what our UV is going to look like. So we're going to go ahead and hit U and go to project from view. And now if we go to our UV editor, you can now see it looks exactly like it did when we positioned it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put this into position. And let me go ahead and get rid of you so that we can see it a lot easier. So we are going to go ahead and bring this bad boy over here and try to get it in this black little square, which is what this little place right here is. So we're going to bring you over here and we're going to scale you down. And we're going to put you right here. Out right there. And what we're going to do is we are going to select this outer part right here with this, this circular piece, which is the outer part of the cylinder. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this back so I can see. We're going to hit Alt and to select the entire thing around it, and we're just going to move this and put it over here and scale it down a little bit. Doesn't really matter. We just want it out of the way. So now we're going to turn this off so we can see it better. And now this is where the magic happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. We're going to select a vert, and we are going to select the middle part of our cylinder. And now watch what happens when I pull it back. And right there, you can start to see some sharp lines on your model. And this is just a cylindrical shape. and oh, that's the specular right there. But you can start to see a sharp line on your model. And we can even pull this out a little bit if we want to. Pull it out to get some more shadows. You can see our specular. Turn this off, and now we have a nice curved cylinder with line work. And the best part about this is you don't really have to worry about your topology. It's not like you have to, it's not like you have to, say, add an edge loop and, you know, maybe position it right here and draw a line inside of that little place. Or you can just grab this and bevel it. It's not like you have to do that to cheat it, because if at the end of the day, it's gonna kind of destroy the position of your UVs, and you don't want to have to do that. So this is a really cool way to get some nice line work on a cylindrical shape without having to have too many lines on it. And I know that this is rather dense because I didn't decimate the cylinder, but I just left it like this, just so it looks nicer. But that right there is how you get some nice sharp lines on your model. So that was something that I really wanted to show you. I thought that would be interesting to know. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete you, get rid of you, and bring back the plate. Oops, wrong one. And see the bolts, and it's just the exact same thing. And if you want to change the direction of this, I believe you have to change the overall position of your normal, or it's not your normal, you have to change the overall position of your UV. Okay, so yeah, we are on our UV editor. We're gonna hit tab to go into edit mode, and I believe what we can do, I'm gonna go ahead and grab you. Oh, I'm on edge loop, so let me see, let me make sure I have this right. Turn you over. Nope, that doesn't work. I believe it was, go ahead and select everything. And I believe you can just rotate this. And you're gonna have to adjust the position manually. You can start to see that it's turning a little bit, and you can play around with that as much as you want. Hit G to put you back, and you can start to see that it's moving in its own way. So that's a really neat way to move everything, and obviously because it's pointing out of the specular data, the specular is looking a little weird right here. But, you know, just letting you know that if you turn this, you can adjust the position of your line. So, just going to go ahead and Z back. And if you want to adjust the thickness, all you have to do is grab this and bring it down, and you can make it good. Oh wait, am I grabbing the right one? Oh wait. Oops. Hit C, grab everything, bring it down, and you can start to see that it's getting thicker and thinner as you pull it away. So that's something that you can play around with. And now, I believe that's everything I wanted to talk about inner lines. Alright, so now that we're done talking about our inner lines, let's go into the last parts of this video. Finally, right? Pretty sure this video is rather long, but I still do very much hope that all of this information was useful to you. Alright, so the last two things I'll be talking about are the blue channel, and that really neat method of editing your normals that I discovered recently. And alright, let's just go ahead and get straight into it so we can get this video done. So alright, what I have here is my specular size, and let me go ahead and hit N to get rid of that. Let me bring this over, and I have this applied to my ILM specular. And if you're curious about this this little sheen right here. I think that's what it's called. In regards to metal, I apologize if I got that terminology wrong, but I believe this is like a sheen when you call it metal. But all I did was I just played around with the color ramp a lot, so you can see that if I move this over, you can see it like that. But I enjoyed playing around with it, and if I grab my light, if I turn it, you can see it moving. But, you know, this is just me playing around with a lot of stuff. And if I wanted to get this result, I could easily just paint that texture on my base color. So I could paint that, those shadows on my base color and still get that nice little result. But, you know, that was just me playing around with the color ramp. But enough about the color ramp, let's just go ahead and get into the specular size. So, from what I've been able to research on the Guilty Gear models, and I will also be sure to put some links to some really good resources in the description. So once you're done with this video, if you feel like it, go into the description and I will leave some links to some resources that you guys can go look up. To where I started doing a lot of my research, and hopefully that will be of use to you as well. So, the specular size is, as I've said before, it looks good in certain circumstances. So if I go over here and I go to my ILM, you can see that I have it primarily applied to the edges. So if I hit tab, go to my UV editor, you can see that I have it applied to the edges right here, which is, oops, didn't mean to do it like that. You can see this nice little highlight right here, and that is what I believe the ILM, well, sorry, that is at least what I believe the blue channel is meant to do, is that it's meant to add another kind of specular to your model. And you can control the opacity of this with the white, gray, and black. So white means that it's gonna fully show through. Gray means that it's gonna saturate a little bit, and black means that it's not there. And you can see that I played around with this a little bit. So what I like to do is I played around with the roughness, and you can see it shrinking and getting bigger. And if you look, you can see that I have it applied to the entire edge right here. And this little shine is the red channel, which is the red channel specular. So you can see that with the roughness, I can play around with the length of it. And I can even, if I lower that a little bit, I can even go over to the color ramp and expose it, de-expose it like that, bring it over, and I can see how much of it I want to show. So you can see that when you turn your camera, or depending on the position, it's going to reveal itself. But obviously you can, like, let's say, let me give a nice little example over here. Let's say I go to my image editor and I'm just like, you know, I do feel like I have a good place right here. I don't think I need to go all the way back into Photoshop and, you know, go back and paint an orange texture in here. What I can do is go to my image texture, or go to my image editor, and I can go from view to paint, and I can, let's say, I just want to color pick this. Color pick, bring that orange over here, hit N to hide that, and I can just do this. And now look at that, I have a specular. I have that nice little specular right there. And if I want to change the opacity, I believe that's the one. No, I have to go to the metal plate. So I believe this is the correct one. Where are you? I placed you somewhere. Oh, I believe this is due to the light position, and I zoomed out way too much. So if I go over here, I believe it is due to the light position. So if I tab out of edit mode, go over here, point the light. Now I can start to see it. There you go. That's just something that you can play around with. And that's primarily what I wanted to show you. So if any of you guys like to draw, I'm still kind of practicing my 2D skills. You can do like a stylized little shine on here. Like you can maybe draw like a shine that looks like something that would be on metal. So for example, you could probably, not like that one, I would say. If you see this little thing right here, like that right there, that had to have been hand painted in. So that was something that they must have hand painted in to make it look like light refracting on metal. And you can even see the, you can see these little outlines right here, which is what I was trying to mimic with the blue channel. So you can see it like that. You can see how it's breaking up a little bit depending on the view. So that was something that I did my best to replicate. And that's just something that I thought I'd just go ahead and share. So I believe that's one way that you can use the blue channel. You don't only have to use it on metal. I believe it can also look good on leather. Basically something that's rather soft and not rigid. So clearly you can tell that this is not metal based on how it's colored. Because you can tell what something is based on how light interacts with it. So you don't see any specular on his jacket because it's not metal and it's not reflecting light. If anything, it's absorbing it. So the only thing that's being shown is the base color and the shadow. And obviously you can tell this is metal because how light is interacting with it. So you have to play around with, let me put shadow information over here and let me put lighting information over here to indicate what a material is, because that's basically how you can tell what something is how light interacts with it. So that was just something I wanted to share. And now I have that permanent little specular right there. I can go back and right to I'm still on my image editor. I can go back over here, expand this a little bit, zoom out. I can Command Z back until I get rid of it. Alright, so that's basically something, no, that's basically it for the blue channel. It looks good on things like metal or on something that's rather soft. So as long as it's not like flat out cloth, I think it would look better. But you know, you guys can play around with that as much as you want. And now, for the final part of this tutorial, let's talk a little bit about normal editing. So let me go ahead and get rid of you, take you off because you are a distraction. Take you off right there. Say add. Oh wait, color ramp. Put you right here, plug you in, and put you right here. And let's put you at constant. And let me bring you over. So let's talk about this right here. So I'll put you right there, just as an example. So let's go ahead and take a look at what our normals look like for this. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I apologize for any background noise. There was just a little bit of rumbling. Hopefully it didn't come up on you guys' end. But let's go ahead and talk about normals. So for any of you guys that don't know what a normal is, it is this little purple thing right here. And what normals do is that they control how your model is shaded and lit. So if yeah, I already have it on. So this right here is your normals. So this right here, if it's a purple line, it indicates your normal direction. So if I can increase the size of it so you can see it better. So that right there is my normals, and it's currently pointing outward. But if I go over to my modifiers and I turn off my data transfer, let's say I turn off the cage and I turn this off, now you'll get what it looked like before I applied the modifiers. So this is what it looked like before I added it, and this is what it looks like after. And this is really good for getting a block out so that you can block out your normals, and then you can later edit them in your preferred standard. And the way that I discovered this was while I was actually practicing my normal editing, I actually thought to myself, wait, here, let me start again. Have you guys ever heard of anything like a normal map? For those of you guys that don't know what a normal map is, it's basically taking high resolution information and putting it on low resolution information. So let's say, for example, I were to go ahead and subdivide this, and I bring it up to like a large amount, and now I get this really smooth effect. And let's say I duplicate this, so I'll Shift D to duplicate it. Let me grab you, and let me drag you over, and it's gonna lag because there's probably a lot of vertices in here. Bring you over, and let me drop the subdivision. So basically, think of a normal map as taking this high resolution data and putting it on something that's low res. And that's basically what a normal map is. And a lot of game developers and those in the game designers in the industry, they use normal maps to basically cut corners and to save memory, because the higher resolution something is, the more memory it's going to take up. The lower resolution, the less memory. So they bake high resolution data and put it on something that's low res, so that they don't have something that's so high resolution. And then I thought to myself, well, how come we can't do that in reverse, but with normals? So I tried to scour the internet for a couple of tutorials, and maybe tried to find some help in the Blender community. And I actually discovered this data transfer modifier, and I found out that it can basically take the normal information from an object and place it on something else. So let me show you what I mean. I can go ahead and X and delete that, and I can lower the subdivision. And let me show you what I mean. So right here, I have this thing, and this is literally just a duplicate of my plane. So if I hit tab, it is literally just a plane, a simple plane, and you can see that it doesn't have a whole lot of edge information. It doesn't have a whole lot of edge loops, so it's very simple, and you can UV edit. You can normal edit this very easily. So what I did was, all I did was place this on top of my plate, and I also believe that the origin is very important. So if I go ahead and hide my plate, you can see that the plane that I have right here has this origin, and if I turn this off and turn back on my plane and select it, it has the same origin. I do believe that that is very important. So if you're ever going to use this method, please make sure that your origins are the same. Let me go ahead and bring back up my plane, and watch what happens when I move this over. So if I move this out of the way, you can see that now my normals are gone. Let me go ahead and turn this on so that you can see it more clearly. If I turn the cage and put this on right here, turn that off, you see where it is. You can see that it starts to move. Like right here, now you can see that it's tilting in this direction. But if let me select them both so you can see it, hit tab, and now watch what happens when I bring it back over. Oops, didn't mean to select that. Grab you over here and watch what happens when I bring it back. Nothing happens because I moved the origin. That is why I said the origin should be important. So make sure that your origins are in the same position. So I'm going to Z back, And now watch what happens when I pull this back into position. You can now, it's a little hard to see because they're overlapping one another, but you can see that it is going right back. And if I turn this off, you can now see that my shadow is back because it is following the very simple normal information of this model. So that's a really cool thing that I discovered. And I'm pretty sure someone else discovered it before me, but I was really happy when I found a really cool way to edit my normals. But if someone else did discover this, thank you for this, because this is awesome. But I was really happy when I played around with this and I got this really cool result where I can take a model that is very, very simple. Like, I could even get like a sphere. So let me go ahead and show you. I'll just go ahead and delete that. And now you can see that I get my normals back. So let me go ahead and add a circle, or not a circle. Let's go ahead and add a UV sphere. And let's make sure that we move it in edit mode. And you can see that the normals are right there. But let's make sure that we're moving it in edit mode so that the origin placement is the same. So let's just say I want to maybe increase your size and move you over, put you right here. And now you can start to see this weird little glitchy effect. And I'm pretty sure you guys remember early on in my video where I talked about your inverted hole casting a shadow based on something else's position. So let's just go over to our outline. No, our shadow position is set to none, so that can't be it. So yeah, it must be this right here. So I'll just go ahead and shade smooth. Let's just move you over. I apologize if I'm confusing you guys, but let's just bring you over right here. And let's just say we'll put you right there. So we're going to go to our normal, or not our normal. We're going to go to our plate, and we are going to get the data transfer modifier right here, and we are going to get our dropper and go to the sphere. And let me show you the settings. If I go to, let me see, give me 1 second. Yeah, that's on auto smooth. Just to make sure that all my settings are on. So let's go ahead and go over to sphere. And what I have selected is face corner data. If I turn that off, it's gonna give me my other result. I'm gonna go back to face corner data. And I'm going to go to custom normals. And what you want to do is you want to play around with this. Nearest face interpolated seems to work the best because it's going to copy the information based on what face is closest to it. So if I say go into edit mode, you can now see that the normals are bending outward because it is trying to copy the normals of this position, of the position of this circle. So if I were to, let's say, let me hide this. Let me grab you right here. Or, sorry, no, I can just go ahead and rotate you. I can move you right here and you can start to see a difference in how the normals are responding. So that was just something that I wanted to share. You know, I'm still testing this out and playing around with it, but I was really happy when I discovered this, and I can maybe go to topology and, you know, you can play around with this as much as you want and see what different results you can get based on what object you're copying it from. But obviously you don't want to copy something that's spherical and put it on something that's meant to be slightly curved and flat. So, you know, just play around with this and see, let's see like what, see what you like, see what you get. But that was one thing that I found, and I'm still testing it out, but I really, really did like it. And, you know, that's something that I'm going to stick with for a little while. But I believe that is everything. And this must have been a very long video. And again, I very, very much apologize for that. But, you know, I didn't want to, well, it's not just because I didn't want to, it's because I actually couldn't. I do have prior arrangements, and I don't believe I would have had enough time to make a tutorial after tutorial after tutorial. So I thought it would be best if I just go ahead and pack everything into this video. But regardless, I truly do hope that no matter what it was in this video, that you at least took even one little smidget of information out of here and you found it valuable. And feel free to let me know in the comments if there was anything in here that you learned. It would make me feel better to know that I didn't waste anybody's time. And feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, because I'm going to be posting a lot more of my artwork on YouTube, and I'm going to be posting some stuff on my Twitter, which I will leave a link to in my description, so feel free to follow me on Twitter, and feel free to like and subscribe. So, again, thank you all for taking the time to watch this video, and I truly hope it has been of some use to you, and I guess I will see you all later. So, have a lovely day, and bye-bye.